This is about the very first Jewish person in England about to be made a knight by the king. So it was a big honor, and this man was told that he has to learn a phrase in Latin that he has to pronounce in front of the king when the king places his sword over his shoulder. Fine. Ceremony night comes. This Jew about to be knighted, he stands in front of the king. The king puts the sword over his shoulders. He was so excited, so nervous that he forgot the phrase in Latin. Quickly, he tried to think something. So the only words in a foreign language that he remembered were Manishtana Laila Zemikola Leilot. And the king looked at him and said, what is this night different from all of the nights? Sorry, of all of you who don't speak Hebrew won't laugh about this joke. What happened is the questions on the Pesach Seder, Manishtana Laila Zemikola Leilot, why is this night, but night as the opposite of day, different from all of the nights? I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. So I want to talk to you today about stay passionate about the Pesach Seder. Stay passionate about the Passover Seder. And why, to be honest, I want to talk about something different today, but something happened during the last couple of days that made me change my message. What happened is, when was it? I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday that our communication director, he knocks at my door at the office, says, Rabbi, would you like to send a message to the congregation before Passover? You know, I already wrote an article for the shofar, but I said, sure, I will send you something short and meaningful for the people before Passover, right? As a way of a greeting before Passover. And I sent it, and I wrapped up that message with something like, may you have like a joyous, meaningful, and liberating Passover. I can't remember the exact words that I used, but it was something in that neighborhood, right? I do it every year, and then I get back some emails from congregants saying, same to you, thank you so much, blessings to your family, something like that. But this year was different. I got emails back, and some people even said it in person, saying, well, Rabbi, this year is going to be so difficult to have a joyous and meaningful Passover when we have still hostages in Gaza and the Jewish people is suffering anti-Semitism all over the world. And then I said, oh boy. He said, you know, people are going to really struggle to celebrate Passover this year. And I didn't realize the extent of that feeling among the congregation, because it wasn't just one person. There were multiple people expressing similar feelings. And I realized how important it is to find a way for all of us to have a joyous, meaningful, and liberating Passover. Because that's the whole idea of Passover, of Pesach, is to find ways to break free from not just the slavery in Egypt, but from everything that is enslaving us. Could be physical slavery, but could also be emotional slavery, or could be mental slavery. And there is something that is very important. And I realize that one of the part of the Seder that to me is resonating when we talk about all the difficulties that we are facing as a Jewish people is the Vehi Shehamda. You may sing it in your Seder. Vehi Shehamda, Vehi Shehamda, Lavoteinu velanu. So basically, long story short, that song of the Seder is saying that in every generation, there was some kind of tragedy for the Jewish people. In every generation, somebody tried to destroy the Jewish people. And then, of course, it ends saying that Akadosh Baruch Hu Matzilenu Miyadam, that God is going to save us from their hands. And by the way, I never liked the melody we use, sorry, Saucy, because we are saying that in every generation, somebody is trying to destroy us, and we, Vehi she'amda, Vehi she'amda. Never mind. So that's why we don't realize what we are singing, because of the melody that we use. But there is another one, another section of the Pesach Seder that is also very important for us to understand, and it is Behol Dor Vador. In my Seder, Behol Dor Vador, Chayav Adam Lirot et atzmo keiluhu. So he says, in every generation, a person should, and this is what is get funny, so a person has to relive or experience, right? Like if you are personally living Egypt, okay? And some people said you have to feel like you are living Egypt, but to me it goes beyond that. And I believe this is a missed opportunity. What I mean, but sometimes, I don't know if it happens to you, when we remember tragedies that happened to the Jewish people in the past, we may think, I wonder what they felt when they were going through that. Because we are going sometimes, through similar things. The suffering and the news and what happened in Israel, and the attacks to Jews everywhere. So we think in the past, because it's true in every generation, and we think, what did they feel? But I think it's the wrong question. Trying to think or trying to guess what they felt. The right question is, what did they do about it? That is the right thing to remember during the Pesach Seder. Because, let's say when I said every generation one have to re-experience the Exodus, I don't know what the people felt when they left Egypt. Feelings are very personal. I'm pretty sure that out of all the hundreds of thousands of people that left Egypt, each one of them felt something different. So a more meaningful and appropriate question is, what did they do as they were living and after they left? And we realized that despite of everything that they felt, because I'm pretty sure not everything was so happy and liberating, because the rabbi said that many people actually didn't leave Egypt for one reason or another. So that means that it has to be many of those people leaving Egypt that maybe they left family behind, friends behind, who knows? So it's not what they felt, but what they did. What they did is, the first thing they did when they left is to recognize God and to be grateful for what they had at that time. That concept is encapsulating during the Pesach Seder when we sing the Dayenu. It will be enough. Even if you don't have everything you want, you say Dayenu. It's enough. And if you have a little bit more, it's enough. And if you have a little bit more, also it's enough. But if you don't, at least you are grateful for these partial victories that you have along the way. So the first thing that we have to understand when we go through a Seder, through a difficult Seder in a difficult year, is first we have to bring back the concept of being grateful for what we have. Because even though there are many people, or many Jewish people around the world, that they are not having a good time, we have to be grateful right here, right now, because we have our congregations, we have our families, we have our advocates, we have our friends, we have our allies. We have people that they are working behind the scenes, trying to help the Jewish people to have better days ahead of us. So we have to be grateful for all that, and not allowing the things that they are still not right ruin the experience of the Passover Seder. Let me tell you something that is fascinating. It's about this week's Parsha. Remember I mentioned before, lots of instructions from God to Moses. One of the instructions, actually two of them, God told Moses to tell Aaron, his brother, the high priest, for Aaron to tell all the other priests that every day they will have to do two things about the altar in the temple. Number one, they have to clean the ashes from the day before. Okay? Number two, they have to add fresh wood every day, because there was an instruction that flame from the altar should be burning forever. So you couldn't let it, go extinct and then you have to light it again. No, you have to continually be burning. And that is something very easy, because nobody stops there at that verse to truly think about that is not as easy as it looks like. Because you say, well, what is the problem? They get the wood. Well, that it's not the same, for example, to go and provide yourself with wood, with fresh wood, to keep feeding the fire in the spring or in the summer than in the winter. It could be raining outside. It's Jerusalem. Could be snowing outside. Maybe there is a shortage of wood. Maybe the one who was in charge of adding more wood that day wouldn't feel it like it that day. They didn't want to do it. And on top of that, the priest have to go and clean up the ashes, because if you allow the ashes to accumulate in the altar, eventually you cannot keep the fire burning. So I realize that these two things that the priests have to do at the temple are the two things that we have to do with ourselves if we want to have that flame, that fire, that passion, that joy burning every day. Number one, you have to clean the ashes from the day before. We have lots of ashes inside ourselves. Sometimes because we are too hard about our own mistakes. But most of the time, it's because of external circumstances. You can't do anything about it. But they keep accumulating as ashes, accumulate in the altar. So we have to find a way to get rid of those ashes, to clean it up every single day. And number two, you have to add fresh wood every day. How do you do that? Well, it's personal. It's personal. I bet that there are different things that work with different people to bring joy to your life every day. For some people, it's music. For some people, it could be reading something. For some other people, it could be being with friends or with family. For other people, it would be to come to synagogue. But it is something that we need to do if we want to keep that flame alive. We have to find our own ways to keep adding wood, not once in a while, every single day. And now as Pesach starts tonight, and as we all need to find a way to celebrate this Seder with joy and meaning, let's do these two things. Number one, find a way to clean up those ashes that don't allow that fire to burn as bright as you would like. And number two, find the wood that you need. For the Seder, sometimes it is the company of family. Sometimes it is meaningful text that you're going to read from the Haggadah. Because that's the way our ancestors did it. Generation after generation, every time they faced challenges, they found a way to strengthen each other so they can continue celebrating passionate, meaningful, and joyous Passover Seders, so we can preserve this flame from generation to generation. So I don't know when was last time that you added wood to that fire, but if there is one time a year that is great to do it, it's exactly for Passover, because it's very liberating. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach, everyone.